So we are going to add some handles to our cups. So this is what we did yesterday. We rolled this cup out, made it round, and added a base. We made sure that this lip here, I'm going to use my sponge to make sure that's nice and round and smooth. The lip, where your lips are going to go, nice and round. And the bottom is really well attached on the inside and the outside by giving it a turn, right? Now we're going to add a handle to this guy. So I'm going to show you two different ways to make handles. There's lots of different ways to make handles. And then I'll show you really quickly how to attach those handles. Okay, so first of all, you're going to take a little bit of clay. And I want you to roll a carrot shape. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is as you're rolling, you sort of open up your fingers, and that helps it to stretch as it goes. And you go back and forth so that you get sort of a carrot shape. You want it to be a little narrower on one end, a little wider on the other end. Sometimes when you roll out clay, it tends to get a little bit flat, and sometimes it can even get a hollow spot in the middle. So if that happens, if it starts to get flat, push it down on the part that's getting a little more rectangular, and then carry on and make sure it stays nice and round. Once you have sort of a nice carrot shape, like that, okay, so this is it's too thick for a handle here. So what we want to do is we want to flatten it a little bit. So what I want you to do, hold this on the table. You watching? Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to slap this on the table and pull it towards yourself at the same time. Okay. So what that's doing is giving us a flat side, and by pulling it towards us, it's also lengthening it. Okay, so that's giving us a flat side and a round side. So now this has a little bit less thickness to it, and it's got a really nice taper. So what I want to do with this is just gently curl it and set it down like that and let it dry. Okay, so basically what I want to do is I want to curl it a little bit further than how I'm going to attach it, right? So there's sort of the shape of the handle. I want it to sort of dry in that shape, maybe even a little tighter than I would normally do that, and set it aside and let it dry. Just sit it there, let it set up for a few minutes, let it dry. Okay, that's handle number one. Handle number two, same exact sort of idea. You're going to roll out a carrot. There, I'm getting it a little bit flat, so I'll just flatten it a little bit. Okay, so carrot shape. We always want one attachment side to be a little thicker than the other, so that's why we do the carrot shape. Okay, so instead of slapping it on the table, I'm going to use one of these little rollers to roll it a little bit flat. And I'm lifting it off the table so that it has a chance to move, right, because it sticks a little bit. So that is a way to make a slab, a nice thin handle, a little bit thicker here, a little bit thinner here, right? If I want, I can put a texture onto that. I can use my stamps. I'm going to make sure, even with a little bit of water, that those edges stay soft, okay? And then I'm going to, oh, it's getting a little hard, I'm getting a little cracking. I'm going to fold that like this and let it sit, let it set up, okay? So the other way you can, if you have some extra clay from a slab, you can cut a handle. This is extra clay that I had from yesterday. It's a little bit hard. So see, those edges are really sharp. If I wanted to use this as a handle, I'd have to use some water and smooth those edges. both sides. Because the edges, you want to make sure those edges are nice and round, and then coil that up. You with me? Okay, so now attaching these, I think I'll attach this guy because he's been sitting for a while. I'm going to attach this one to that because it has some flowers I stamped into it. So you're going to set it on its side. So there's a lot of different attachments. You can attach with an obvious attachment, so I made no attempt to hide that this was a slab. You can see the edges of this one. You can see the edges of that one as well. I didn't attempt to hide that. Or you can curl up the edges, right, like that. You can leave it flipped out a little bit if you want. Or you can attach it completely. And you can smooth that, whoops, let me see there. Smooth that right in, so it feels like it's just growing right out of the mug. Okay, there's lots of different attachment methods. I usually will make my attachment wherever the seam is. Okay, so this is where I joined it. That's where I scored and I joined it together. This is the perfect spot for that handle because that handle is going to help that stick together and not open up. Okay, so now I want to put this on there. It's way too big like that, so I'm going to have to cut it down a little bit. So I'll set it on its side. Okay, watch this. Set it on its side. And I'm looking at the negative space, the space that's in here, because that is where my fingers are going to go when I hold on to this, right? So I'm going to look at that negative space, and with my fettling knife, I'm going to curl this around, see what kind of shape that is there, and then once I have the shape that I want, cut through both at the same time. So now I've got an angle here and an angle here that when I attach it onto my mug, okay, those will attach really nicely. So I think I would like a little bit more of a curl here. So I think I'll curl that a bit more, give that a bit more of an angle. Now here's a trick to figure out where to score. Take your Darvon water, put some Darvon water on both sides, hold this up. I usually will hold it up like this. I know you can't see it on camera. Hold it up, figure out where you want it to go. I want it to go more towards the top, and then sort of press it on, and then it will leave two little wet spots. So I pressed it on there. There's a wet spot here for me to score, and here for me to score. Darvon water, score, Darvon water. So I get a good attachment, and then I will do the same for my handle. And then, this is usually super helpful. Set that in front of me. Start at the top. Put your hand on the inside to support that as you join and jiggle. And then from the bottom, smooth that out a little bit. Then you put your hand at the bottom there. Join and jiggle. Okay, so this part on the inside here, you really need to make sure that it joins there. You really need to make sure that it joins there. On the inside, you can compress it with your paintbrush too. Now on the inside where you can't get your fingers, in here, compress that with your paintbrush. Also up here, the top part of the handle right here where it attaches here likes to pull away from the mug, so make sure that you get a really good seal, a really good bond there, and then you have a handle. Okay, check it out, look at the profile, Now if I look at this, I feel like I need to push that up just a little bit, because it had a little bit of a corner there. So you can adjust that a little bit while it's still wet. But never hold your mug by the handle until after it's bisque fired. Once it's come out of the first bisque, you can hold it by the handle all you want. Never hold it by the handle until it's been bisque fired, okay? Because it won't hold. It'll come off. Okay? So that's handles. Give that a go. There's 2 different handle types. If you want to make up your own, you're more than welcome to, but those are a few for you to try today.